Wait, I have to collect myself. There's like a million weird things we're doing.
No, he didn't try out. We didn't push him to try out. He was good. He did.
No, I copied it over.
Really liked,
Oh,
and,
Matt wants
I'm
to
gonna
keep
coach
his
him in,
unfinished.
That's what Mike said there.
That's good.
Because he always really young and
Take just good. It's good. He wants to keep it. Okay. I think I'm ready.
It was their meeting, so they,
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to our City Council meeting. Before I officially call it to order, I'll just run through the agenda. Kim is ready in the booth for BevCam. Thank you very much, Kim, for being here as always. And welcome, fellow councilors. It feels like we haven't seen each other in a long time now, but it's only been a little bit. It's probably just indicative of our year that it feels long that we haven't seen each other. So this evening, at the front end of our agenda, we have a resolution, also a mayoral proclamation. We have two citizen speakers who will be speaking with us during that portion. We will need to take a break after that portion for executive session. We will reconvene from that, assuming that we roll call into it and agree to do it. And then we'll take up our regular business from there. So with that, I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Beverly City Council, Monday, November 14th, 6:30 p.m. Ms. Kent, will you please call the roll?
Bowen? Here. Crowley?
Here.
Feldman?
Here.
Houseman?
Here.
Rand?
Here.
Rotundo?
Here.
St. Hilaire?
Here.
Sweeney?
Here.
And Flowers.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Councilor Houseman, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you very much, Councilor Houseman. I want to begin tonight by noting that due to the Friday holiday and making sure that we had our agendas posted for open meeting law, we are not going to break for subcommittees this evening, but there are some things that we can take on the floor, assuming that we agree to it. So at this point, as we start our meeting, I would entertain a motion under Rule 30 of the Council to suspend Rules 21 and 22 for all orders tonight to allow us to vote them on the floor, with the exception of, and the things that are accepted will go to subcommittee as usual, with the exception of Order 270, 276, 278, 282, 283, 288A. You want me to go slower, councilors? 288B, I know you're trying to look, 259, and 259A.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. So with the exception of the orders I just read, which we will refer to subcommittee as we usually might, we'll be taking other orders on the floor as we go. I also now would entertain a motion to take our agenda out of order for a time, because I think for both our resolution and our proclamation, we may have some guests who are not here. And so I would entertain a motion to take our agenda out of order and go to our citizen speakers.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion carries 9-0. I also just wanted to mention as well, we were starting early at 6:30 p.m. so that we would have time to do some recognitions of our officers of the Beverly Police Department. And so that will be held at another time. We'll look forward to doing that. Councilor Rotundo.
Madam President, I did have opportunity to talk to the two union presidents, and unfortunately, due to their contract right now, they weren't feeling really want to be recognized yet, but hopefully, as the contract negotiations go through, that they will be able to be recognized in the future with us.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. So we will look forward to recognizing men and women of our police department at a future date. And some of you who have been on the council will recall that this was something we did with both police and fire with some regularity for new officers, new firefighters, and promotions. And with COVID, we haven't had the chance. So my understanding is that both departments have big numbers of people that we haven't had a chance to recognize. Some have been on the job, and we'll look forward to being able to do that in the future. With that, I know we're a little ahead of where some of our citizen speakers may have guessed. Mr. Sandy Freiberg-Kelleher? He's not here yet. So, Ms. Ames, you helpfully have chimed in. You are the second speaker on the list. Would you be willing to be the first speaker, please? And welcome back, former Councilor Ames, to the other side of the podium.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here and see everyone. I'm Stacy Ames, live at 3 Prospect Street. It's very good to see everyone on this important evening that you're focusing on human rights. I'm here to offer comments on behalf of Joyce McMahon and myself relative to the mayor's most recent markup of the proposed charter review, which is on tonight's agenda, as I served on as a member of that committee for quite a while. For us, the charter review is our community's commitment to transparent and accountable governance. We appreciate and respect the committee's work and sincere intention the council demonstrated throughout the process. The specific provision with which we are deeply concerned is Mayor Mike Cahill's decision to deny an annual budget meeting to be codified into the charter. His refusal goes against the advice of the Collins Center and the approval of the Charter Review Committee and the City Council. A public budget meeting held each year at the very beginning of the budget process gives residents and business owners the opportunity to provide input on how our city resources are spent. It allows the mayor, the council, and school committee to publicly outline their long and short-term goals, and it provides necessary input to create an efficient budget in line with the full community's priorities and not just that of any sitting mayor. An annual public budget meeting drives Beverly towards a culture of continuous improvement that people who live and work here deserve. Not embracing this meeting is a lost opportunity for this and future administrations. We're missing out on an important community engagement and alignment. The current budget the current budget process needs improvement, and here's why. Beverly's municipal budget document falls far short of those presented by many other communities. There are no goals, no table of contents, no definition of terms, and no clear description of expenditures, nor any conclusions. Instead, it's pages of difficult-to-read printouts that are challenging at best for most to comprehend. And we believe that budget goals and decision-making need to be tracked transparently because transparency leads to accountability. By the way, here are some charts from the Danvers Financial Summit, which includes data from the DLS Commonwealth of Massachusetts website. These results really haven't changed since 2016. I want to make sure I get them in order when they first started. So the first one you see is about 10 different communities and their average single-family tax bill, which in 2020 was $7,471, which you can see is close to the average, for this group. Then if you look at where some of the funding for the budget comes from, state aid is 13%. Again, right in the middle of the group. Property tax revenue, 83%. Again, in the middle. And finally is a chart for total expenditures by per capita. Beverly is consistently at the bottom of this chart. In 2020, Beverly spent $2,760 per capita. Danvers spent $3,656, and the state average was $3,618. That's $858 per capita, or 24% under the state average. Why? We need to understand and do better. So, personally, I believe the powers of curiosity and reinvention are really important, especially in good governance. We just need to understand and do better as a community. To borrow some inspiration from my personal hero, Delphine Aurilleur, a French rabbi, author, journal editor, and philosopher, who once said, "I draw my inspiration from people who dare to be both tradition keepers and tradition breakers. People who know they're actually true to their heritage when they have enough chutzpah to question its certainties." Our hope is that this council will move forward with the understanding that people who live here aren't satisfied with the status quo, but the past need not define us because it doesn't say everything we can be. There's always something else, something to change and something to create. That is who we must be to dare enough to try. Therefore, we encourage President Flowers and this council to schedule a budget meeting for your January calendar. And we encourage you to keep pushing for a better budget document for all of us. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ames. Thank you for being here with us. And former Councilor Ames knows this, but for anyone else who's joining us on BevCam or here in the room, the citizen comment portion is interesting because it doesn't allow for back and forth from the council, but I always say to our citizen speakers, your presence is important, your voice here is heard, and often is the way that we begin other conversations here in the council chambers. So I thank you, Ms. Ames, for your time. Councilors, I note that our other citizen speaker and some honorees for both our resolution and mayoral proclamation aren't here quite yet, so I'm going to continue to move through our agenda and we'll circle back when they are, if that is okay. I will take a moment, though, to recognize some of our city staff who are in the room, as well as some fellow elected officials. I should have done this at the beginning. First, Representative Jerry Paracella is here with us this evening. Thank you, Representative Paracella. Matt Kubitis from Senator Lovely's office, I see there in the back row. Thank you for being here with us. Police Chief John LaLasher is here with us, along with other members of the Human Rights Committee, and I believe others are yet to come and will be with us this evening. Our City Finance Director, Mr. Brian Ailes, is here. Thank you, Mr. Ailes. Our City Grants Director, Catherine Barrett. Thank you for being here, Ms. Barrett. From the Solicitor's Office, our City Solicitor, Stephanie Williams, Assistant City Solicitor, Jesse Dole, and Dylan Benson is here as well. And in some ways, it's good that I paused on my introductions because it means I didn't miss our city solicitor and assistant solicitor Dole. And I believe that's everybody from our city staff who's here at this time. Thank you. Councilor Bowen, thank you, being very attentive. One of our folks that we are going to be honoring in part with our resolution is here. Mr. Thomas Green is here with us. Thank you, from the Massachusetts tribe. And so, councilors, I will have us with that circle back to Order 285. This is under resolutions. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know why I was looking at you, Ms. Kent, like you were going to say something. Councilor Sweeney and Councilor Bowen, and I will go to the podium and present this. And Mr. Green, if I could invite you to join us at the podium as well, we would love to have you join us up here. And let me say, you and I have spoken a lot by phone and on email, but it's a pleasure to meet you in person this evening. I know you've met some of my fellow councilors already. So Councilor Bowen and Councilor Sweeney and I will take turns reading the resolution aloud, and then Councilor Sweeney, I know you have a few words, and Mr. Green, if you're willing, we'd love to give you an opportunity to say a few words as well about some of the work that you and the tribe are doing and how it might relate to our work here in Beverly and what we're striving to do and where we're striving to go. I also do want to just say a word of appreciation to my fellow counselors for all of their work in drafting this resolution. This grew out of a conversation that we had very early on as a city council this year, talking about land statement and land acknowledgement and what that might look like and mean in our community. And it's really been a pleasure to work together with Councilors Sweeney and Bowen on this. Whereas the Namkeg and Pawtucket bands of the Massachusetts tribal nation were the original indigenous inhabitants of the land that is now known as northeastern Massachusetts, including the city of Beverly.
Whereas the Pawtucket lived in the area that is now known as northeastern Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire, they were primarily fishermen, farmers, hunters, and gatherers.
Whereas the Namkeg, a seasonally migrational people, built summer dwellings along the shore called Wetu that line the area that is now known as southern Essex County. Their villages were then appropriated by the English Puritan settlers and formed the foundation for the early Puritan settlements of the area that later became the cities and towns of southern Essex County in which we live today.
Whereas the Namkeg people did not seek war with the Puritan settlers over the appropriation of their villages, but rather treated them with kindness, sharing with them the secrets of a good harvest in this local climate.
And whereas the Namkeg and Pawtucket peoples were afflicted with foreign illnesses brought about by Puritan settlers and devastated by the impacts of colonialism, including forcible removal from their ancestral lands.
Whereas indigenous people continue to live in and contribute to Beverly and the surrounding region. The Namkeg and Pawtucket bands of the Massachusetts tribal nation are now represented through the Massachusetts Tribe, which is active in partnering with educational and civic groups throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to further educate all interested residents about the true history of the various indigenous people groups now represented by the tribe. Additionally, the Massachusetts Center for Native American Awareness in Danvers works to preserve Native American cultural traditions, to assist Native American residents with basic needs and educational expenses, to advance public knowledge and understanding that helps dispel inaccurate information about Native Americans, and to work towards racial equality by addressing inequities in the region.
Therefore, be it resolved that the Beverly City Council acknowledges and honors the ancestral and continued connection of the original indigenous inhabitants of this land, the Namkeg and Pawtucket bands of the Massachusetts tribal nation.
Furthermore, be it resolved that the Beverly City Council recognizes our obligations to this land, to better environmental care and stewardship to which the indigenous people who have cared for it have long called us.
Furthermore, be it resolved that the Beverly City Council is committed to measurable action towards diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging.
Furthermore, be it resolved that the Beverly City Council pledges to invite and uplift the voices of Indigenous people in our community and in our area, as well as to work in partnership with Indigenous communities in our area to build relationships, foster deeper understanding, and work toward justice and equity in our community. The Beverly City Council hereby orders that the city clerk spread a copy of this resolution upon the city records. Thank you, Mr. Green. I would be remiss in also not saying that your work and your time with us was invaluable, both in helping me to learn much more about what I thought I understood about the Indigenous people of our area and how much more there is to learn. And I know that you also have worked with some of my fellow counselors, and your work is also evident here as you helped us to really make sure that we were articulating clearly and historically accurately the history of the people of this land. So I want to say thank you to you for all of the time that you have given us and the relationships that we've begun to build as well. So thank you.
Wuni Nukan, Nuisawak Thomas Green, Massachusettantawank, Nuisawak Nashawank Matug, Nuchi Panuak, Nipawsit, Massachusetts Pokapuak,
Kuni Piamunamam Kudabadamush. Good evening. My name is Thomas Green. My name in the Massachusetts language is Spirit Tree. I descended from the Neponset Band of Massachusetts at Ponkapog. Thank you all for welcoming me here. That was just what I said in English. I would like to give a special thank you to Councilor Flowers, Bowen, and Sweeney for working with me. First, I'd like to thank all of you very much for deciding that you wanted to do this. I know it was a long road for all of you guys. I still feel as though there's a lot of educational work that should be done in Beverly when it comes to your Indigenous neighbors. These are the first steps of the city of Beverly reaching out to their Indigenous neighbors and saying that, yes, we'd like to know more about you. We'd like to learn about your history. We'd like to learn about what you're currently doing, and we'd like to find a way to have our Indigenous neighbors participating in community affairs here in Beverly. This is the first step. This is the beginning. Acknowledging a people that have been marginalized for hundreds of years is definitely a large step. So I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Kudawadamush.
So just to echo President Flowers, I want to extend my thanks to Thomas for taking the time to partner with the three of us and hopefully build what is a long-lasting relationship going forward with the City of Beverly and the Massachusetts tribe. And I did want to thank President Flowers for initiating the conversation that ultimately led to this resolution. I know, speaking personally, I learned a lot in researching and conversing with folks in the city and folks like Thomas. So definitely want to thank you for that, President Flowers. And going forward, as Thomas mentioned, this resolution is an important first step, but obviously now it's up to the rest of us as city councilors and as a community to continue the educational efforts in Beverly and really learn as much about our full history of our region and all the different people groups that make up our city to learn as much as we can. So with that, we have the resolution here. I don't know if Thomas, just here's the resolution signed by the councilors.
Yeah, that looks official.
And thank you again for taking the time to come in. We really appreciate it.
No worries. I'm glad to be here tonight. I'll get this to our tribe's clerk.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. You're welcome. Thanks again, Thomas. Great to meet you in person. It's nice to meet you. I'm sure we're going to do a lot of good work together around here.
Yeah, definitely.
I can hang around.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sweeney, Councillor Bowen, for your work together on that. And councillors, I would entertain a motion to approve Order 285. This is the resolution you just heard.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion carries 9-0. And again, a big thank you to Mr. Thomas Green for being here and especially for his time that he spent with all of us answering questions and helping us to ensure that the resolution was really accurate and fair and just and moving us towards continued learning, as Councillor Sweeney said. So thank you very much again, Mr. Green, for being here. I will entertain a motion just to take a brief 2-minute recess, just so we can sort of shift our gears for a moment. Is there a motion to take a 2-minute recess?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll take a 2-minute recess and be back at 3 minutes. I know. I know. Welcome back, local government fans and fans on BevCam. Thank you again to Thomas Green for being here with us. Thank you again to Councilors Sweeney and Bowen and to the whole council for this conversation we've been continuing and working through together since we started this term together. I just want to check for a moment before we go to our mayoral proclamation. I do feel like we have many of the folks here who were hoping to be here for that one and that we were hoping to have. Mr. Sandy Freiberg Kelleher, our other citizen speaker, I'm not sure if he's in the room yet. Okay, thank you, everybody. So with that, I mentioned some of our city staff who were here, but I observed that His Honor the Mayor is here with us, as well as his Chief of Staff, Jocelyn Rell-Kursker. Thank you both for joining us. And we'll go to presentations, awards, and memorials. Mr. Mayor, we'll go to Order 183. This is a mayoral proclamation endorsing the working definition of anti-Semitism established by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. And thank you to all of the guests who are here with us in the room. I mentioned before we had members of our Human Rights Committee. We have more members of our Human Rights Committee and members of our wider community who have joined us now, as well as Rabbi Allison Adler from Temple B'nai Abraham and members of her board and congregation as well. And so thank you for being here with us. Oh, thank you very much. So Sandy, we're glad to have you. We'll go to you after the mayor, if that's okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. And thank you to you and your colleagues on the City Council for working with Thomas in that resolution, and really important and great work. Thank you for that. It's a blessing to have our neighbors from Temple B'nai Abraham here, as well as members of our Human Rights Committee. Just a couple of thoughts, and then I'll read the proclamation that we've worked on together, and with Rabbi Adler's help. Anti-Semitism is a problem in American and Massachusetts communities. Swastika graffiti and anti-Semitic sentiments are found in schools, on public property, on college campuses, in the workplace, and on social media. The Holocaust, where Hitler and Nazi Germany perpetrated the mass murder of over 6 million European Jews, was fueled by anti-Semitism. It is essential to do a better job educating people about the Holocaust and the dangers of anti-Semitism. This statistic, I think, shocks anybody who's thinking, and I know we're all thinking about this. 2.4% of all American adults are Jewish, and yet nearly 60% of all religiously motivated hate crimes in America are committed against Jewish individuals. So the need for our attention, the need for our diligence, the need to support our neighbors and friends and family members in the Jewish community in Beverly and everywhere in this world is critical. So with that said, let me read the proclamation that is signed by me and is signed by every member of our City Council. A proclamation endorsing the working definition of anti-Semitism established by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. Whereas, we must never forget the horrific events of the Holocaust and the 6 million Jewish lives lost during this tragic genocide. Whereas, honoring the victims and survivors of the Holocaust begins with our renewed recognition of the value and dignity of each person. It demands from us the courage to protect the persecuted and speak out against racism, bigotry, and hatred. And whereas anti-Semitism is an evil that threatens not only people who subscribe to the Jewish faith, but all people no matter creed or background. And whereas anti-Semitism is a challenge to the basic principles of tolerance, pluralism, and democracy, and the shared values that bind Americans and many allies together. And whereas anti-Semitism threatens public life, the media, schools, the workplace, and the religious sphere. And whereas anti-Semitism is multifaceted and multiform, manifesting in many ways, making it easier to spread and harder to combat. And whereas FBI statistics for 2020 have shown that Jewish individuals are the target of 58% of all religiously motivated hate crimes in the United States. And these acts of hate serve as a painful reminder of our obligation to condemn and combat rising anti-Semitism in all its forms. And whereas we recommit ourselves to the promise that never again can such evil occur, by remembering the victims of the Holocaust and recommitting ourselves to understanding the horrors of the Holocaust and other genocides that have occurred and are occurring today. And whereas the City of Beverly and city officials can play a powerful role in promoting values of tolerance and pluralism and in protecting citizens from acts of racism, bigotry, and hate motivated by discriminatory animus, including anti-Semitism. And whereas an essential tool in combating anti-Semitism is the ability to define anti-Semitism in each of its multiple forms. And whereas on May 26, 2016, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, plenary in Bucharest, Romania, decided to the following non-legally binding working definition of anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. Whereas the IHRA, currently comprised of 35 member states, including the United States, formally adopted this working definition of anti-Semitism, which was adopted or endorsed by 35 UN member states, supported by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the European Union, the Council on Europe, and the Secretary General of the Organization of American States. And whereas the IHRA working definition provides a clear, comprehensive, and non-legally binding definition that can be used to determine contemporary manifestations of anti-Semitism, including Holocaust distortion or denial, prejudices against Jews, and the denial of Israel's right to exist. And whereas together we clearly identify hate, transform it into positive change, and turn darkness into light. Now therefore we, Mayor Michael P. Cahill, and you members of the Beverly City Council, hereby proclaim that Beverly endorses the working definition of anti-Semitism established by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, and urge all the citizens of the City of Beverly to take cognizance of this definition and the threat that anti-Semitism poses to our community. It's signed again by me, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor, by Julie R. Flowers, President and Councilor at Large, Hannah L. Bowen, Councilor at Large, Estelle M. Rand, City Councilor Ward 2, Scott D. Hausman, City Councilor Ward 4, Matthew J. St. Hilaire, City Councilor Ward 6, Todd C. Rotundo, Vice President and City Councilor Ward 1, Brendan S. Sweeney, Councilor at Large, Stephen M. Crowley, City Councilor Ward 3, and Kathleen M. Feldman, City Councilor Ward 5. Again, City Council colleagues, thank you so much for your work and support on this. And Rabbi Allison Adler, I'd like to invite you up to receive this proclamation and our gratitude for you and all the incredible work you do in our community.
You may be seated. Can I sit?
Right? Okay, that's the line that goes there, Rabbi.
So I just want to say a quick thank you to Mayor Cahill and to the City Council, to the people who I've been so fortunate to serve on the Beverly Human Rights Committee with for 6 years, for some of you, and of course to members of over here, members of the Beverly Multi-Faith Coalition, who are also here, members of our congregation, and just people in Beverly. This is really important, and and it means a lot to all of us. And it's meant a lot that I can call up, even text the mayor or the chief when I have a concern. They get back to me right away. You know, to be in a community where people are responding and seeing things that are going on that are not right, that are not good, that are not just, in so many ways, and trying to respond and lead in ways that make the community even better and even stronger. So, thank you.
Thank you again, Mayor, for your work and allowing the council and your office to collaborate together to make this proclamation together. Thank you, Rabbi Adler, for being here, members of your congregation, Human Rights Committee. And Rabbi Adler, I'm glad that you acknowledged that the Multi-Faith Coalition members are also here, because I did not acknowledge them, and I'll probably be voted out as a member of that body. Thank you for being here. And I do also just want to quickly note, Lorinda Visnick, Ward 6 School Committee member, is in the back row on the wrong side of the room from where she usually sits, but she's fresh off knee surgery, so we will allow it. I do also just want to mention, while we're discussing the proclamation and had the chance to hear this proclamation, hear from the rabbi, our Human Rights Committee has already been hard at work envisioning what a next step might look like, and I've been asked just to share and to invite the community to an event that will happen on Wednesday, December 14th, from 6:30 p.m. to 8 at Temple B'nai Abraham, which is 200 East Lothrop Street in Beverly. And this is a learning conversation about anti-Semitism. So for those in the community, for all of us, as we're thinking about this proclamation and where we go next, this is an excellent opportunity for some learning and conversation together. And this will be hosted and led by our Beverly Human Rights Committee, and Rabbi Allison will actually be helping to lead our community conversation. It will be a chance to discuss the meaning of recent anti-Semitic events on the North Shore. There will be time for questions about anti-Semitism, and we'll explore together how we can take action against anti-Semitism, as well as identify questions for future discussion and action. So coming off this proclamation, it feels like a timely time to share that invitation from our Human Rights Committee, as together we're contemplating next steps after a proclamation like this. So with that, I would entertain a motion to take a 5-minute recess. I learned from my past mistakes. Thank you, Ms. Kent. I would entertain a motion to approve Order 183, the mayoral proclamation we just heard.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion carries 9-0. Where would I be without you, Ms. Kent? And now I'll entertain a motion to take a 5-minute recess.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll be back at 7:15.
A lot of recess.
So I'll call the city council back from our recess, back to order following our recess. Thank you again to the mayor and to Rabbi Adler, members of Temple B'nai Abraham, our multi-faith coalition in Beverly, our Human Rights Committee. Thank you again to Representative Paracella for being here with us, and for Senator Lovely's office being represented here with us this evening as well. As we know, our citizen speaker, Mr. Sandy Freiberg Kelleher, came in, and so I'll invite you to come to the podium. This is our citizen speaker portion of our meeting, and so you have up to 5 minutes to address the council. And as you may already know, there's not a chance for back and forth conversation, but as I always say, it's a really helpful way for us to hear what people are thinking about, what's on your mind. So I thank you for being here. And I know I gave away your name, but if you would start by saying your name and address for the record.
Absolutely. I'm Sandy Freeberg Kelleher. I live at 63 Lothrop Street. And I'm, oh, there you go. Sorry about that. And if I'm here more than 5 minutes, please just yank me off. I don't even know where to go with this. I love Beverly. I've lived in Beverly, the current home, 5.5 years, but 10 years with the last home from New York and Salem. I will tout Beverly and all the wonderful things about it, some of which we already saw on display tonight, to anyone who will listen. But there's one problem I've had as long as I've been here, and I can't seem to get any satisfaction in terms of the resolution. And when I say satisfaction, it doesn't have to be, yeah, we agree with you, we're going to do that, do what you said. But it's the answers I get that have been so troubling and the runaround. And as you do a little research, I'm here to talk about water and sewage billing. And I know right away that this is nothing new. It has been going on for decades. There are people who have been more passionate about it than I have been, who have tried to rally me to join them in the past. Just over the years that I've had this trouble, people are willing to talk about how long this has been going on, how frustrating it is. I am not the first. I don't know, maybe I'll be the last. But there's a major problem when I get a bill that says a water and sewage bill. And sewage is 3 times the water, and my bills are whopping. And I'll just leave it at that. And then I discover the sewage bill, but wait, the water I'm using is for irrigation. It does not go in the sewer. And then all the research, all the people who have swimming pools, all of their water, that does not go in the sewer. And again, yes, I have more important things to do, and this is why I take this up every year or two, and then it goes away, and then it comes back. I've called the water office, I've worked with them, and they say, well, this is just the way it is, it has to be. So then I went to my counselor, ward officer, official, and a year or two ago, and we started, and people get back to me. And they say, well, it's complicated. I'm like, well, okay, well, explain to me. I'm concerned. What's so complicated? Well, if the water, we have to charge high in the sewer, the city needs to make money, and this is how the city makes its, like, the explanations I get have been, like, kind of silly. We need to charge that to make the money. I'm like, okay, I get that, but charge properly. I recognize that I use water. Charge me for my water. I recognize my water rates will go up. I invite my water rates to go up. And if for some reason at the end of all of this, my bill in the end is the same, at least I get a bill that is truthful and is accurate and is what it is supposed to be for. I actually find it very scary that you guys send out a sewer bill to people who have irrigation systems and pools, and the best you could come up with is it's complicated. It's not complicated for all the other towns that have 2 meters. One for water that goes in the sewer, one for water that doesn't. Since this has been on my radar for so long, and I'll talk to anyone about it, I found out there are other solutions. There are towns that do their sewage bill based on winter usage, recognizing that people with swimming pools and people with irrigation systems are just, I don't know, I feel like we're getting a luxury tax. I mean, I know from taxes, I get it. I'm a math person, I'm a business person. I want the city to get all the money it deserves, all the money it needs to do all the wonderful things Beverly does. But please stop charging us for something we're not doing. It seems so ridiculous. I'm like, I could get really passionate. I mean, it just seems ridiculous when there are easy solutions, and I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. I call the water office. I call my counselor. I've recently gone all the way to the mayor's office just ranting and raving, like, what do I do next? They're like, come here. I mean, I don't get it. You guys do so many things right. Don't charge us for sewage we don't use, and if you want to charge us for other things, I mean, do it. I have a beautiful home on the water. I pay extra tax for it. I fix my seawall. I'll do everything I'm supposed to, but stop charging us sewage we're not using. people with swimming pools, people with irrigation systems. I'm going to take your smiles and nods as you hear me, so I know you can't talk back. Please, it's ridiculous. If every other town could fix it, everyone tells me they all have this problem. Give us an answer other than it's complicated. It's not complicated. It's basic math. Thank you. I'll just...
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here, and I also want to apologize. I think I mispronounced your name slightly when I called you up, so I apologize for that. But thank you for your time. Thank you for being here with us. Councilors, let's go to acceptance of minutes of previous meetings. We have one set of meeting minutes to accept this evening. That's our regular city council meeting from October 17th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain because I was not here.
Thank you very much, Councillor Houseman. So that is 8 with 1 abstention. 8 in favor, 1 abstention. At this point, councillors, we are going to take it. I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session. So I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21(6), open meeting law exemption regarding considering the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. Regarding a proposed eminent domain taking of 2 through 4 Cabot Street, Beverly, Mass., aka 2 Cabot Street, Beverly, Mass., aka 4 Cabot Street, Beverly, Mass. As council president, I declare that an executive session is necessary because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the city's negotiation position. The council will reconvene in open session following our executive session this evening. Councilors, we do need to roll call into executive session. So Ms. Kent, I will ask you to call the roll for this vote to enter into executive session.
Bowen?
Yes.
Crowley?
Yes.
Feldman?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
St. Hilaire?
Yes.
Sweeney?
Yes.
And Flowers?
Yes. Thank you. That motion carries.
9.
Oh, Ms. Kent, we have to redo that. I need the motion to do it.
Yeah.
So,
I move that the council go into executive session pursuant to the preamble that you read.
thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Kent, would you please roll call again now that I've done it properly?
Bowen?
Yes.
Crowley?
Yes.
Feldman?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
St. Hilaire?
Yes.
Sweeney?
Yes.
And Flowers?
Yes, again. So, councilors, we will go into executive session. We will reconvene in open session following this executive session. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're back reconvened in our open session, and we will pick up our agenda with communications from His Honor the Mayor.
Order number 270, dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to review and provided in Section 2-10 of the Beverly City Charter, Mr. James Butler to serve as Director of Municipal Inspections. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 271, dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded an $800,000 grant from the Massachusetts Seaport Economic Council. The city intends to use this grant funding to purchase the parcel at 2-4 Cabot Street through a friendly taking by eminent domain and to make improvements to the property to increase public parking and access the waterfront and furtherance of and supporting our maritime economy. This grant requires 20% match of funding of $160,000, and the city has already incurred some costs within departmental budgets that will count as part of the 20% required match. Therefore, we are requesting that $150,000 be transferred from the city's reserve for unforeseen account to cover the remaining match requirement. The match funding and transfer component of this request would necessitate a public hearing prior to any final action by the City Council. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council act on this matter at your upcoming meeting. A separate order will be submitted requesting authorization to take the property by eminent domain. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing for December 5th at 7:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 272, dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a $200,000 earmark from the Division of Conservation and Recreation. This earmark funding will be used to build pickleball courts at Birch Plain Fields. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this earmark at your upcoming meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. We have a series here that is among those orders that we will vote on the floor this evening. Mr. Ailes or Ms. Barrett, in this series, if there's any of these that you would like to get up and have a chance to speak on, I'd be happy to have you do that. Ms. Barrett?
Thank you, President Flowers. I just wanted to say thank you to Senator Lovely and Representative Paracella for helping to secure this funding for pickleball. There's a very spirited group of residents that enjoy pickleball, and we've been trying to move that forward and get these completed. So that funding will really help to get that project done. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barrett. Councilors, any questions for Councilor Bowen?
Thank you. And my question probably won't be a surprise because I asked a version of it about a month ago when we were asked to transfer funds from the reserve for unforeseen into the public property line in order to get this work started. We talked at that time about the potential that money that we had been discussing could be available, would become available. So I'm just curious if you could walk us through again what happens to the money that was already transferred. Is there a plan to replenish the fund for other unexpected things that may come up? And is the estimate still the same, that this is like $140,000 for the specific work? And then are there plans for the rest of the funds?
Okay, so,
Mr.
Counselor.
Ailes?
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. A few questions in there. The first is, yes, we talked about the need to transfer funds a few meetings ago into the public property budget to cover and allow the city to enter into a contract for engineering services. So you're all aware of the site that we intend to build the pickleball courts on. That required some engagement with an engineering firm to come in, survey the site, make sure we're doing everything appropriate for that type of site. That work is ongoing. We've entered into that contract with your previous authorization, and that is going. This money will focus primarily on the construction component of it. As with any construction cost or construction project as of late, there is uncertainty in the total price tag, right? The engineer still is going to do their work and get us the appropriate scope that's required, but this will certainly, at a minimum, make a big dent in what could be the total cost of the project when everything's said and done.
Councilor Bowen, do you have a follow-up?
I do, because I thought when we were speaking last time that the engineering department thought the design work was about a $65,000.
Yep, so that's the contract we've entered into already, $65,000.
Okay, and, if I may, and I had a note about 140 total. So this is obviously a $200,000 earmark.
The earmark itself is for $200,000. The $140,000 that you have a note of, can't really speak to kind of what that might represent. And without knowing some of the specifics that's been discussed already with the engineering department, I can't really comment with certainty around the total project cost. But we know the $200,000, we know what it costs to do a basketball court, we know what it costs to do a tennis court, so this $200,000 will obviously all go to the pickleball court.
Councilor Bowen.
So then I guess just to be very clear, the money that was already transferred out of the reserve for unforeseen is not being replenished. That account is just lower because this earmark is fully going to this same project, and we'll see that at the end of the budget year. We'll see the grant come in some line, and we'll see it spent on this project.
So the way we can do it internally, and the way we will do it, is that the $200,000, if accepted, will sit in a bucket by itself, and those will fund costs for the construction of pickleball court. As the engineer gets closer towards the end of their work, they'll get us a firmer number on the total cost. If it's less than the $200,000 that's sitting in that bucket, we may choose at that point to pay the final invoice for the engineer work out of the $200,000. So we will exhaust the full $200,000 first, and whatever's left would remain within the public services budget. In terms of replenishment of that transfer, it's still our intent when the free cash is certified to replenish that initial request, along with the request that we'll be having a public hearing for on the 5th of December.
Let's have a follow-up, and then I'm going to go to Councilor Rotundo.
Perfect, thank you. And just to close out, so that helps to clarify, and I guess my question with all of these is sort of how we can trace that full path, because at budget time, we see what the plans are for the year, how all the money lines up, and then if money moves from one line to another, and then there's another bucket, and then there's a different source, we're essentially losing track often of where the priorities are. So to the extent that you can keep that clear for us as we're making each of these decisions, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I would just add, though, to that comment, we're dynamic as a municipality in the sense that priorities change throughout the year and opportunities change throughout the year. And as Ms. Barrett mentioned, this was an opportunity that was presented to us from our legislative delegation. They said, we can get you $200,000 for pickleball court. And we said, okay, let's make this happen for an investment within our existing budget to try to move in that direction and get this rolling. I appreciate the desire to have it all laid out in a linear fashion, but sometimes it's multidimensional, and there are kind of shifting of priorities throughout the year. Considering also that we do build the budget roughly 18 months in advance is when we start building the budget of the close of the fiscal year. So,
Councilor Rotundo, you've been waiting.
Just mine's a simple question. Where are we at specifically on, I know you're saying engineer and architect, do you have some sort of a time frame with the pickleball? I mean, this has been a conversation that's been going on for a while. I know firsthand with O'Bear Parks. I'm just curious time frame wise, Mayor, if you have an idea what you're looking at for a time frame. I know there's a lot of conservation in that area too.
Yeah, so to Councilor Rotundo's question, we had every hope and desire of building it this fall. Mr. Ailes talked about some of the challenges with getting us to the money available to go ahead and bring on board the design team. Right now, the goal is to advertise for the construction work in early calendar year. We're shooting for January to have somebody on board and ready to construct as soon as the spring allows. The goal is to have the courts ready for summer use. So that's right now what we're working with. And it's, yeah.
Just a quick
That's
thought.
already
Are you having, permitting-wise, are you having any issues with permitting that may stall it a little bit? Are you beyond that hurdle already?
No. We have anticipated, and this design work is hopefully going to bear out, that the work can all be done outside of the buffer. We know that there are wetlands ringing the site, and the plan and the goal and the hope is that we'll be able to stay outside of the buffer with all of the work and with the, with the footprint of the courts themselves.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Councilor Rander, are you, okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion then to approve Order 272.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries.
Roll call? No? No, never mind. I was thinking remote.
I know what you're thinking. Motion carries 9-0. Order 270, oh, sorry, I'm doing your job, Ms. Kent, I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
you can do it.
Ms. Kent?
Order 273, dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a $133,180 FY23 state formula grant from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. This annual grant funding is based on 11,099 senior citizens living in Beverly at $12 senior and supports operations of the Council on Aging. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this grant at your upcoming meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. Ms. Barrett, is there anything you'd like to tell us about this one?
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to our Council on Aging Director, Marianne Holak. This grant this year is a little over $30,000 of an increase, and it was based on, again, that 2020 census. I think we had a couple thousand more senior citizens, and so the allocation is quite a bit more money, which will be very helpful for the senior center operations. So thank you to Marianne.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barrett. Before we have any further conversation on this one, is there a motion to approve Order 273?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further conversation or questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 274, dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a $25,000 Community One Stop for Growth Housing Choice Program grant from the Baker-Polito Administration and the Mass Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development. This grant funding will be used to study and identify opportunities to address concerns about parking supply related to the city's thriving cultural venues and downtown businesses and the possible redevelopment of a public parking lot. Specifically, the project will analyze existing conditions and projected future growth, examine ways to improve parking management, including changes to technology and equipment, recommend transportation demand management measured to encourage alternatives to driving, and propose additional parking supply only as needed, and where it will be utilized efficiently. Due to the urgency of this issue, without knowing the specific deadline for a grant award, the city began the process of finding a consultant earlier this fall and contracted with Walker Parking Consultants to execute this project. While we were prepared to pay for the project with city funds, we are pleased to apply this grant award to the project with the permission of EOHED. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, and gift of the city can be extended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this grant by acting on this matter at your upcoming meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. Ms. Barrett, anything that you'd like to share with us about Order 274?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to point out that Beverly is a designated housing choice community, so that makes us eligible for a whole slew of grants, and this was one of them. And I just want to say thanks to our planning director, Darlene Wynn, who applied for this grant and was awarded. And we've had some staff open positions in her department, several of them, and she was still able to complete quite a few grants and get those awarded. So thank you for all her efforts.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barrett. Before we have further conversation or questions on this one, is there a motion to approve Order 274?
So moved.
Second.
Any conversation or questions? Counselor Rand.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping that maybe we can get a couple answers from this tonight, but I don't see anyone from the planning department, so I'm happy to follow up with this. I support this, receiving this grant funding, but I am curious about if and when there will be a public engagement process, like there was with our kind of first parking analysis. And also I'm very interested in the measures to encourage alternatives to driving, specifically around pedestrian safety and placemaking to encourage walking from parking lots to downtown businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Ms. Barrett.
Thanks. I can pass those questions along to Darlene Nguyen, and she can respond to you, Councilor Rand.
Thank you.
Okay.
Counselor Rotundo.
Just a quick question regards to this grant. I know there's been a lot of conversation about the technology downtown, the kiosks having problems. Could any of this funding go towards investigating possibly a change in program? And I know it's a bigger question, but is this something that would be part of a study of some sort with a grant like this?
Thanks, Councilor Rotundo. I believe that in the application, this was for a parking study specifically, so the funding has to be used for that intent. So I'm not sure about the parking kiosks. That might be a different discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, so, thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Madam President.
Counselor Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam President. Glad to see we'll have this grant funding available. I think it's important that we are intentional about examining parking capacity, specifically downtown. My question, and there may not be an answer at this time, is there a timeline yet, now that the consultant's on board, for when their work would be completed?
I'm not sure on the timeline, but I can check with Darlene Nguyen, and we can get an answer for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor. I see you approaching the podium.
Yeah, thanks, Madam President. Not much more detail, but we can get you some more from engineering. We know that they're looking to try to do, gather utilization data in the downtown, within the whole downtown, at the same time really focusing around the Cabot Street lots and on street, for us to be able to look at with them before the end of calendar year. There's more scope that they're not going to get to that quickly, so the work will go on into the new year.
Okay, that's helpful, and certainly once that's available, I'd be interested in seeing it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Counselor Sweeney. Counselor Bowen.
Thank you. Given that there are a number of questions, I'm just curious if we can both accept the grant and allow this work to continue moving forward, as it sounds like we're all supportive of, but also plan to have some time either in a public services meeting or a future council meeting to address some of these questions related to the specific study and or how it's going to be used more fully.
Yes, I would be happy to work with Ms. Kent to invite Ms. Nguyen to come and be able to have some of that conversation with us. Sounds like there's lots of interest in it. So thank you, Counselor Bone. We will definitely make time for that, and I'm sure that Ms. Nguyen would be happy to come and discuss with us. Other questions or comments from the council on this one? All those in favor of Order 274?
So moved.
Thank you. Carries 9-0. Thank you.
Order number 275, dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has received a $50,000 donation from the Beverly Rotary Club. This donation will be used for the reconstruction and maintenance of the gazebo in the Beverly Common. The city is grateful for the generous support from the Beverly Rotary Club for this project. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any earmark, grant, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this donation at your upcoming meeting. Thank you. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Barrett, anything you'd like to add about Order 275?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say thank you to the Beverly Rotary for their generous donation for the gazebo. I believe they paid for the original gazebo to be built, and it's in need of replacement. So we just wanted to say thank you. I don't have a timeline on that project, but if anyone's interested, we can get that information too. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barrett. I am actually I am a member of the Beverly Rotary Club, so Councilor Rotundo, Vice President Rotundo, if you wouldn't mind switching with me, taking the president's seat, and just calling for a motion and allowing for any further discussion.
Motion to accept the order.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yes.
Counselor?
Perhaps to Ms. Barrett or to Mr. Ailes. Actually, maybe to Mr. Ailes. If you'd like to come to the podium. Good evening.
Evening.
My question, so I'm fully supportive of accepting the funds with appreciation to the Rotary. I am curious, though, the gazebo at the Commons has been in serious disrepair and was basically blocked off for the summer due to its dilapidated condition. And I'm just curious as to why the city internally didn't take steps to repair it or reconstruct it on its own. And while being appreciative of apparently the history with the Rotary and its participation with this project, it's a major city asset that was left both unused and unsafe during the course of the entire last year. So I'm just curious as to sort of the administrative aspects of why the Department of Public Services or otherwise this was not addressed already.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, Commissioner Collins isn't here this evening. I'm sure he could probably speak to it better than I could. What I have been made aware of is that the commitment from the Rotary Club, even though you have it before you this evening, was in discussions through the summer. And that commitment, I can remember actually being on the Commons with a number of them to look at the site and what we thought was going to be needed when they so generously committed to donating the $50,000. That's really all in terms of discussions I've been a part of. So I'm happy to relay, I feel like this is a theme tonight, but I'm happy to relay that question to our Commissioner of Public Works and the Mayor's office to see if they can get together a response for you.
Yeah, I would be very interested in the response because it seems to me, frankly, without knowing more, because in deference to Mr. Collins and the mayor, I haven't had a chance to speak with them about this, but it seems to me inappropriate for the city to be working, even with a organization like Rotary, to sort of work through the process of finding acceptable that it's a delay in addressing a capital asset of the city while we wait for an organization like the Rotary to help us take care of it. It just seems to me that it should have been taken care of in the ordinary course as a matter of maintenance and repair and or replacement through the city's capital expenditure plan or otherwise. So that's just a comment. I look forward to the further conversation to learn more about how it sort of rolled out the way it has. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions, Councilor Hausman?
No, I'm set.
Councilor Rand?
Thank you. Through you, Vice President Rotundo, to Councilor Hausman, maybe because it's in my ward, I was aware of basically the ongoing dilemma of the gazebo and also the sort of planned generosity of the Rotary Club. But I can assure you that the gazebo has been an issue in front of Commissioner Collins for, longer than we've been talking about it probably. I'm not
excusing the fact that it's in poor condition right now, but I think it's probably fair to say that there is a plan, there has been a plan, and in no way it is my understanding that we were waiting for funding from the Rotary Club. There's a plan in place, and the funding from the Rotary Club is just a generous gift that we are hoping to accept. So, yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about the gazebo in the past year and a half. So.
Okay, through you, Council Vice President, thank you for mentioning that, and I look forward to learning more about how that sort of has rolled out. Thank you.
Any other questions? So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0. And I will go get with, thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice President Rotundo, for taking the president's chair for that one.
Good.
Ms. Kent, thank you.
Order 276, dear Honorable City Council, I am in receipt of Order 75A of 2022, which is the City Council's proposed amendments to the city's 1995 Home Rule Charter for inclusion in a proposed Home Rule amendment to be filed with the General Court. I would like to thank the City Council and the Charter Review Committee, particularly to the city residents who volunteer their time for the effort and thought devoted to the review of the 1995 Charter and the creation of the draft proposed. Under the state constitution, any home rule petition to amend the city's charter requires the approval of both the mayor and the city council. This letter serves to inform you of the provisions that I do not approve or that I approve conditionally. Also including in this letter are additional recommended amendments.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. We'll refer this Order 276 to the Subcommittee on Legal Affairs, please. Solicitor Williams, I wonder if I could, in anticipation of the subcommittee being able to meet, ask if your office might be able to prepare a redlined copy that inserts the mayor's suggested comments into the document.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. We'll plan on doing that.
Thank you very much,
You're
Solicitor. Mr. Perry.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a quick update. As you and I have discussed today, and I spoke earlier this evening with Chairperson Rand, I've reached out to Collins Center. We're going to make arrangements to do our third contract with them to assist the subcommittee and obviously the council as a whole as we move forward with the document from that we've all received from the mayor. So I just want to bring your attention to that. And we've started the conversation, Council Rand and I, about the logistics of trying to get that going and inviting the right people. So I just want to let you know that we're behind the scenes, things are being done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Thank you, Solicitor Williams, for your willingness to have your office produce that document in advance of the subcommittee meeting. Councilor Rand, you and your subcommittee can work to schedule that, and we'll get that posted through the clerk's office.
Order number 277, dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has received a $2,000 donation from the Friends of the Beverly Public Library, which is to benefit the Nancy P. Robinson Memorial Endowment Fund. There are no restrictions on this gift, which benefits the Beverly Public Library. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grants, earmarked donation, or gifts to the city can be extended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve their donation by acting on this matter at your upcoming meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Barrett, anything you'd like to say about Order 277?
Thank you. Yes. So this endowment fund was set up quite a while ago, and I just wanted to say thank you to all the people that support the Friends of the Beverly Public Library. They do so many wonderful things and support a lot of different initiatives at the library, and I especially want to thank Allison Babin, our library director, and this will help fund that endowment. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barrett. Before we have any further conversation or questions, is there a motion to approve Order 277?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order 278, dear Honorable City Council, includes please find a proposed order approving the taking by eminent domain of the property located at 2-4 Cabot Street pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 79. The property is being taken for the purposes of municipal parking and to increase the public's access to the city's waterfront, both of which help to carry out the goals and objectives of the Beverly Harbor and Waterfront Plan. Separate proposed orders regarding the approval of the acceptance of a grant from the Mass Seaport Economic Council in addition to an appropriation from the city's reserve from unforeseen account which would be used to purchase the property will also be submitted to the council for consideration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor. Do you want me to read the order?
I just
Solicitor.
make a comment whenever. So, Madam President, I know earlier today we talked about this being referred to legal affairs. One thing that occurs to me is that Order 271 is actually the order for the compensation for the eminent domain taking, and obviously one sort of depends on the other. They go hand in hand. So I don't know if it's up to you, if it might be more appropriate to send Order 278 to Finance and Property. I know we talked about it going to legal affairs. Obviously, the legal department can be there, but I just want to flag that.
Thank you, that's appreciated, so that the two can stay together.
Yeah, it's something
Counselor
to think
Houseman, you're the
about.
Chair of Finance and Property, is that agreeable to you as well?
Yes.
Thank you. With that, we'll refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property. Thank you, Solicitor.
Order number 279. Dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully submit the attached proposed zoning amendment to you and request that your Honorable Council refer the matter to the Planning Board in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 5, for coordination of a joint public hearing. The enclosed ordinance amendments are consistent with the goals of the Beverly Master Plan and Beverly Housing Plan. Keep going. First, I am pleased to submit proposed amendments to various sections of the Beverly zoning ordinance which serves two purposes. One, to eliminate the tall building overlay district in reference to the associated design guidelines created in 2007 to support the overlay district. And number two, reduce the maximum allowable height of buildings in the Cabot Street area, CC district, and in the residential district, RHD, between Cabot Street and Rantoul Street. As you know, the suite of changes arose as key priorities during the development of the new Beverly Master Plan and have been presented by the Mayor and Planning Director at recent meetings related to development and zoning. Second, I am pleased to submit a proposed zoning amendment to Article 16, Affordable Housing, Inclusionary Housing Ordinance, introducing new affordability requirements for residential development projects. In 2017, the City Council adopted changes into the Inclusionary Housing Ordinance based on policy recommendations made in the Community Housing Plan 2016. The changes proposed herein are similar, supported by the findings in the plan, including the deep housing need identified therein and the city's experience with the use of the inclusionary housing ordinance and recent development proposals. We look forward to discussing this proposal at a future public hearing to be scheduled by the Planning Board and the City Council. We recommend, though it not required, that the City Council and Planning Board hold a joint public hearing if feasible. In the meantime, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, Darlene Nguyen.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. I would entertain a motion to set that joint public hearing for our December 5th meeting at 8:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second?
Counselor Houseman.
Yeah, I do have a request, though, that either through the clerk's office or the planning department, that the council be provided with a full red line and clean copy of the proposed changes before that meeting, so we have a chance to review both red line and clean before the joint hearing.
You can certainly make that request, Counselor Houseman. Thank you. Counselor Bowen.
Just a question of timing, given the both desire to move these through the process quickly and to have substantial impact. Do you have a sense for the amount of time we may be able to devote to that joint public hearing on December 5th in the confines of a larger meeting?
So it's typical that the joint public hearings with the planning board are within the confines of a regular city council meeting, so I would anticipate it would be given as much time as it needs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Rotundo.
Madam President, through you to Council Houseman, I believe we already have the red line and clean draft of that ordinance of the proposal in our packet right now.
But not in color. So
No, it's in color.
We
Yeah,
have a difference.
I'm talking about hard copies.
I was going to say a
I'm not
difference of
talking
how
about
we're
electronic
receiving
copy.
it. So Councilor Rotundo is correct. In the packet, as you received it scanned in, it is in color, so we can have color copies available for all councilors who prefer hard copy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from councilors? And I should note, Councilor Bowen, this ties in somewhat to your question, but Ms. Wynn and I had a chance to talk earlier today, and the planning board is available on that date at that time, which was one of the factors that we took into account. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0, so we'll set that joint public hearing for December 5th at 8:30 p.m. Let's go to communications from other city officers and boards, please, Ms. Kent.
Order number 280 from the city clerk's office, the city council 223 regular meeting calendar.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Is there a motion to approve? I knew what you meant. Is there a motion to approve the city council calendar for 2023?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Can I just ask
Councilor Bowen.
if I may, just a quick clarifying question on the April meetings? There was a Tuesday meeting, and I wasn't sure if that was because there was a Monday holiday, but I wasn't able to identify the Monday holiday.
Patriots Day.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 9-0.
Order number
Doing your
281
job again.
from the finance director, Brian Ailes, approval to use fiscal year 2023 appropriated funds towards the payment of two prior year fiscal year 2022 invoices totaling $22,936.09.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Mr. Ailes, I don't know if there's anything you'd like to have a chance to address us about on this one? Also, as I look out, you're quickly becoming one of the last, the last.
happy to
folks
answer.
left
Last
in
man
the-
standing?
Yes.
Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Before we enter into conversation or questions about this one, is there a motion to approve Order 281?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 282 from Councilor Bowen, a letter regarding accessory dwelling units.
Thank you very much. We'll refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 283 from the Assistant City Solicitor Dole, declare the property of 119 Livingstone available for disposition.
Refer that to the Subcommittee on Legal Affairs as well, please. Let's go to communications, applications, and petitions, please, Ms. Kent.
Order number 284 from National Grid, Plan 305-54593, Ober Street, to install beginning at point approximately 185 feet southeast of the center line on the interaction of Elm Top Lane and continue approximately 40 feet in an east direction, install a total of 40 feet 2-3-inch conduits from MH 778-2 to HH 713 on customer's property.
Thank you. Ms. Kent, I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing for December 5th at 8 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Thank goodness, Councilor Rand. Thank you, Councilor Crowley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. I started to worry I'd said something wrong.
Order number 285 from National Grid, Plan WR 306-39141, Odell Ave, to install beginning at a point approximately 220 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Whitney Ave and Odell Ave, and continually approximately 20 feet in a north direction, install 35 feet pole access from 41 Odell Ave.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. I'd entertain a motion to set that public hearing December 5th at 8:10 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. Councilor Houseman, you were right on it that time. Thank you.
Order number 286 from the Salem and Beverly Water Supply, annual report determining the volume of water supplied in the cities of Salem and Beverly.
I would entertain a motion to receive that report and place it on file.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Bowen.
Thank you. I just had a quick comment. In looking at it, I know many of us heard from constituents and had questions ourselves about water supply during this most recent drought. We were reassured that there was plenty of water available, and that there was a regional drought. And so I think many of us wanted to encourage water conservation and consideration of just the health of our water system. And so in seeing this, just the data that's behind these calculations, it looks like Salem and Beverly were using more water this summer than the last couple of summers. And so just wanted to thank the neighbors who were focused on water conservation, while many of our neighboring communities had to put in place water restrictions that we did not, and encourage us to keep that conversation alive as we think about what that means for not only the financial costs of our water, but the environmental costs as well.
Thank you, Councillor Bowen. That's a great reminder and a great conversation going forward that we can continue to have among ourselves, but also with our sustainability office as well. All those in favor of receiving and placing this on file?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 287 from National Grid, Diana Cuddy, petition to install approximately 8,150 feet of 12-inch 60 PSIG plastic gas main on Hale Street, extending from the existing stub near Cabot Street to the regulator station at Boyle Street in accordance with the attached plans.
Thank you very much. I'd entertain a motion to set that public hearing for December 5th at 8:20 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 288 from Attorney Marshall Hanley relating to two easements at 114 and 116 Livingstone Avenue and Porter Terrace LLC.
Thank you. And Order 288 from Attorney Hanley has actually been replaced by the two that follow it. So we'll entertain a motion just to receive and place on file the original Order 288.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 288A, from Attorney Hanley, acceptance of an easement on 114-116 Livingstone Ave.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Subcommittee on Legal Affairs.
Order 288B from Attorney Hanley, grant an easement to Massachusetts Electric Company at 119 Livingstone Ave.
Thank you. Please also refer that to the Subcommittee on Legal Affairs. Let's go to unfinished business from a previous meeting.
Order number 259 from Councilor Houseman, a special municipal employees shall be designated special municipal employees.
Councilor Houseman, this is your order. Seems like it would be good for us to have some further discussion. Does it feel agreeable to you to refer that to Legal Affairs at this time?
Yes, it is, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kent, let's refer that to Legal Affairs, please.
Order number 259A, Councilor Houseman, special municipal employees, conflict of interest disclosures filed with the Office of the Mayor.
Councilor Houseman, the same question, but I also want to give you a chance if you wish to just say anything about these two orders at this point.
Not at this point. I filed these shortly before I left, and I have not had a chance to speak with the solicitor's office, and I want to follow up with them, preferably, hopefully, before the subcommittee meeting, so I have a chance to have the benefit of whatever background they can provide as well.
Thank you very much. So we'll refer 259A as well to Legal Affairs. Thank you, Councilor Houseman.
Thank you.
237, or are we just...
Oh, just introduce it and then I'll go to Councilor.
Order number 237 from Council St. Hilaire, a proposed zoning ordinance amendment to limit new building projects in the city of Beverly to 3 stories. This is continued from the October 24th special meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. Councilor St. Hilaire, similar question to you. This is your order.
Yeah, I would just say, given the introduction of other zoning-related items tonight, I would request that we hold this for discussion as we take on a larger subject, if that's okay with you.
That is. Thank you, Councilor St. Hilaire. So we'll hold Order 237 under unfinished business from a previous meeting, as it has been. Thank you very much, Councilor St. Hilaire. I appreciate your input on that. There are no motions and orders. We did not break for subcommittee. So,
It's a good night.
that means that we're at the point when I will just give us a reminder that our next regular city council meeting is next Monday. They are back to back, as you will recall. This regular meeting is the second Monday, which is unusual for us because of our state election. So we'll meet next Monday at 6:30 p.m. We will have a chance to recognize some of our Beverly firefighters at 6:30, and we'll go right into the rest of the meeting at that point. Members of the community are certainly welcome to join us, as always, here in Chambers. I also, having just mentioned our state election, would like to say a word of thanks to our city clerk, assistant city clerk, and their entire staff, as well as the expanded staff that they work with during election season to cover all of our polling places. It's certainly a big undertaking, and they've continued to be working on the results of elections and all that come after them this week. So thank you very much, Ms. Kent, Ms. Dixon, and your entire team.
Thank you.
Ms. Councilor Bowen, sorry.
I have an event announcement if now is
Please,
appropriate.
please, now is.
Thank you. So building on work that we did earlier today, I wanted to just flag that the Friends of the Beverly Public Library with colleagues in Peabody and Linfield are hosting an event on November 16th in a couple of days called Decolonizing Contributions by Indigenous People. And that is at the Linfield Meeting House, but has Beverly Public Library support.
Thank you very much, Councilor Bowen, and a nice tie-in actually of two of the pieces of work we did, both the resolution and also the reference to the Friends of the Beverly Library earlier. Any other announcements from councilors or reminders? All right, well, thank you very much to Kim for being here from BevCam. She's already left, but I did mean to try to thank Ms. Barrett before she left. She thanked an awful lot of other people, but her grants office works very hard, and a lot of that is her work as well and guidance. So if she's gone home to watch on BevCam, thank you, Ms. Barrett, as well. Thank you to all the city staff who were here with us. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We're adjourned.